And now, when do we do the cooperation? It's got to be ahead of time. What I call strategic is looking into the future. Like, you may not need to talk to someone now, but you want to get to know who they are. Tactical means I have trouble now, who do I talk to? And it's important to keep relationships at both levels, that you want to know who can I call when I see something. I get calls from people just knowing who I am to get things going on in my company. The example I gave about Estonia and Russia, it was, and when I get to the third part here, I'll tie this together. There were people from other parts of the world that had nothing to do with Estonia were sitting in the NOC of the ISPs there watching the attack start because they knew it was coming. It came from other sources. But there were people that were international experts. In fact, one of the ISPs there, I forget exactly the organizations involved, they knew somebody who knew somebody else and had all those people in one place to watch the attack happen. And that was better than having to call somebody, especially if you use VoIP and you're using the internet to call. So.
La cooperación es bastante importante, sobre todo, no táctica ya en el momento del ataque, sino estar preparados antes, inclusive cuando no hay ataques, poder tener esa cooperación entre entidades privadas, así sean competidores, donde se pueda ver qué se está implementando, qué se está usando, y sobre todo ser alerta. Si uno ve que algo está sucediendo, dice, ¿por qué estará pasando esto aquí? Poder, ¿a quién llamo? ¿Con quién hablo en esta otra compañía? Así sea un competidor, para alertarse entre los unos y los otros y crear esa conversación de lado a lado. Siguiendo con el ejemplo de Estonia, del ataque, que es un ataque de estos como los que vemos hoy de anónimos, esos que son coordinados, ¿no? Que ya son coordinados y que son anunciados, digámoslo así, que ya se sabe qué horas van a hacer. Entonces, en este caso, el ISP que estaba siendo atacado en Estonia, a través de una persona que conocía a otra persona, trajeron todo un equipo que estaban sentados en el centro de operaciones de redes, en el NOC de ese ISP, viendo el ataque a medida que estaba sucediendo y pudieron contrarrestar el ataque. O manejar el ataque de la mejor forma.
Okay. And so the third part is where do you do these collaborations? Conferences and workshops are very important for this. And to the Estonia case, it turned out that the week that attack happened, Europe was holding the RIPE conference. And RIPE is kind of like a combination of LACNOG and LACNIC all in one, and a little bit of IETF for Europeans. So they happened to have had an audience right there that were getting together anyway, and they happened to be able to walk across the street to see this. That was that wasn't planned, but it was funny they had everyone there. In fact, we all knew what was going to go on. Not all of us got to see the event, but we were all there the day of the event, the evening it happened, the next day we were able to discuss it, and everyone knew who everyone else was, even more so, and it tied in more of the security. Now going to I also mentioned in-person meetings. Not just conferences and workshops, you follow up with people talking over different topics in more closed environments. Sometimes you don't want to share things publicly, you want to have a more closed environment. And what I said, most importantly here, it's also social. It's one thing to deal with someone, an official, as a presenter or as a meeting, but knowing what kind of person they are gives you some trust in who they are. So that the happy hour or the social event element is actually really important in building, knowing who's working across your world, and to get this going.
El punto interesante es cuando estaban, esa gente que vino, además a ver ese evento, este ataque que hubo en Estonia, coincidencialmente al mismo tiempo de iba a suceder este ataque, había una conferencia bastante grande en Europa, donde se agruparon bastantes expertos de seguridad de Internet y de redes en general, que literalmente estaban casi que a la otra cuadra, ¿no? Donde estaba el ISP, entonces vinieron casi muchos de esos a ver el ataque en sí. Pero el punto del ejemplo es que al ver el ataque y al estar el uno al lado del otro se crea esa confianza, ¿no? Se crea donde se pueden ayudar los unos a los otros. Entonces, lo que nos cuenta él, que ha visto en su experiencia de esos ataques y cómo se puede prevenir, es la cooperación no es solo algo de cooperaciones formales entre compañías, de documentos legales, de cooperación entre el uno y el otro, sino es tener esa cooperación de persona a persona, entre compañías para poder, entre compañías, entre gobiernos, entre entidades reguladoras, poder así tener a quién confiar, a quién llamar al celular en el momento que hay un problema y poder actuar, en vez de tener que ir por todos los canales hasta llegar a una persona, poder saber a quién llamar cuando hay algo así. Por eso es importante los happy hours, las cervecitas después del trabajo donde se conoce uno con la gente, y esa es también parte de lo que estamos tratando de crear acá, ¿no? Crear una comunidad donde nos podamos conocer todos y podamos crear estas conexiones formales, pero también informales, para mantener la seguridad del DNS y poder, cuando haya momentos no solo de ataque, sino el día a día, poder mantener, tener esa comunidad creada, poder llamar los unos a los otros.
Okay, so government-industry cooperation, I touched on that already. This has helped structure what I see as the cooperation. There's a relationship that's important. The government can learn from experts in industry, but the government also maintains authority at all times. It's the government's job to run the government. But the industry is where we do a lot more of the risk work. We try things out, we test things out. And also as part of that, we tend to know where some of the bad guys are. It's our job to guess what bad guys are doing because we're trying to beat them. And we can help the government say, look, we think something's going to happen, and we have to make sure we have clear lines of who does the government trust, who they don't trust. It's a very good question. So this is a relationship that's really got to be defined ahead of time. It's been upfront, as open as the government wants to be. I mean, different governments have different levels of this. But it has to be something that's really well established before anything serious happens that affects the whole country.
Yeah. Punto muy importante, tenemos representantes del MPEG, que es la cooperación con el gobierno. Algo bastante importante por el gobierno, aunque el gobierno regula toda la tecnología, regula Internet, y es importante tener protocolos definidos de cómo interactuar con el gobierno el día a día, pero también en momentos de ataque, porque muchas veces la industria sabe que, porque están en el frente, digámoslo así, de esto, saben que están tomando riesgos, están hablando con otros expertos en la industria y saben cuándo va a haber un ataque. Muchas veces nosotros, por ejemplo, experimentamos eso hace poco con los ataques que hubo aquí con Anonymous, donde tuvimos una conversación con el gobierno, pero pudo haber sido una cooperación más fluida si hubiéramos tenido una más preparación antes, algo que está en evolución y algo que hay que seguir evolucionando, pero es bastante importante, sobre todo seguir esa conversación con el gobierno y con las entidades, y cada una de las entidades sepa cómo hablar y con quién hablar el gobierno, porque al fin y al cabo el gobierno puede ser pues una gran ayuda para poder juntar a todas las diferentes entidades, tanto de regulatorias, también como entidades locales y globales que pueden ayudarnos a prevenir eso.
Now I'll tell my story. Okay, first, DDoS is today the biggest, is a really big concern, a growing concern. It's not just DNS, it's everything that gets involved with DDoS. But the story I want to tell will help break this down. As a research project, 10 years more ago, we set up a small network and we showed video across the internet, across this little network. And then we launched a DDoS attack which showed the video disappear from remote sites. And our plan was to have an online way to recover. And this was, someone typed in, take this, basically a virus, a good virus, and go through there and filter away the DDoS. Now the good virus needed to be able to check the certificates of this code to make sure the code was actually the good virus. So what it did, it went on the DNS and said, DNS, give me certificate information. We said this was our plan. We built this network, we ran the video, we ran the DDoS, we ran our virus protection, and you know what happened? Every DNS query failed because the DDoS was on. You couldn't get there. So, this is the case. You're in an attack. What do? You can't get to what you need. We built a second network. And we had the attack here and DNS here, and that was our solution for research. In real life, that second network would be a social environment.